Hey guys, welcome back to another Reality Skewed Gamers review of Star Wars shows with your boy Ranger J 1999 and that lump of poo poo over that way. That way? It's Cashmere. How you doing,
That
Cash?
way. Hey,
And we are here reviewing Bad Batch Season 2. And we had 2 episodes, and these were big episodes. They were at the halfway point of the season, and this one was pretty. I'm gonna say overall, this has got some good stuff in it for the lore
what
and
I've been
everything.
waiting for.
Yes, this is what we've been waiting for a while. A lot of big stuff happens finally in these shows. Um, Last week we didn't do a review. We did do a review for episode 6, The Tribe, but it didn't. OBS crapped the bed, and so yeah, fortunately, we'll do eventually. We'll go back and get that
Okay.
one in there. But I mean, it
Better
was a
than
good.
average.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good episode. A lot of good stuff in there. But this episode, brother. So kick us off, Kashmir. We start, and this is episode 7 and 8. And what are the name of the
Yes.
titles? Episode 7
This
was.
7 is Clone Conspiracy.
Yep.
So we'll start off with that. We start off with a couple of clones drinking at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
So right away, we're starting off good.
Yeah, they're talking about the conspiracy of Grant or Graham. What's the name of the ad?
Rampart.
Rampart. Sorry, I'm thinking. I'm
Yeah.
trying. I got too much other stuff going on in my world right now, so I get names mixed up. And basically, the one says he get an ultimatum to Rampart, correct? Because he was
Yep.
there on the ship, the Rampart ship, when they
They
opened
were
fire.
both there.
Yeah, on Camino. Um, and that he basically threatened him, like, if you don't do what I ask you to do, I'm going to take it to the Republic himself. Is basically the gist I get from
Yeah.
this.
You come clean about what happened, or I'm going to tell them.
Yeah, and then so they go outside from this bar, which is full of clones, and they're all talking about, the proposed defense fund or the new defense force that's being proposed, military force,
Yep.
which has been made more prevalent, which we'll get into in a second. But that's something that the clones are really concerned about. They go outside, they're still talking about it, and the other guy gets snips, or is it Slips? Slips was his name, right? Slips was the other one.
Slip is the one that survives.
You're
So
right.
I think his name is Cade or something like that.
Yeah, something
He
along those
gets,
lines. He gets
yeah,
sniped.
he gets sniped.
The other,
It
and
looks like
Slips gets away.
Crosshair.
Yeah. No, it
Looks
wasn't
like
Crosshair though.
Crosshair.
It looked like it
I
was.
know.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you're ruining it for everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's going to be spoilers, but they made us believe it's going to be Crosshair in like some sort of
Weird
Mexican
role. I
restaurant.
never believed that was Crosshair. Not for 1 second, man. I thought it was Rampart for sure. Doing his had hired a mercenary to do
Yeah.
a bounty hunter or something along those lines. Didn't think for a moment it was Crosshair. I just did. I don't know. The one the outfit was different, and
Yeah.
two, Crosshair don't miss. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? That was the thing. I'm like, I mean, the guy was good, but he was no Crosshair. That's the other thing. I was like, who the hell is this guy? I guess he didn't want to go through normal channels of clones or to someone in the military. I thought it
Mhm.
was somebody who was an outsider that he brought in. That I never thought it was Crosshair. It's interesting that you did think that maybe it was
I
Crosshair.
thought it was at very first with the first guy.
Hmm.
But then when he kept on missing the second guy, then I'm like, all right, it's not going to be him. I'd be shocked if it's him.
Yeah, because Crosshair don't miss, man. When he
Yeah,
gets you in your
he don't
sights,
miss.
man, and that was
And
made prevalent,
he ain't
and
going to let them get away.
we've seen enough of Crosshair to know that. Yeah, and he's been specially designed for that. So that all happens, and then Slips gets away, gives the slip.
Yeah.
And then we get to the Senate, and we get to some politics of Star Wars here, and this was really good. The
Yes.
senators, all in the great, Senate, the chamber, going at it, and I mean, Bail Organa was there. You had all these different senators. Half were for the was it
Mhm.
the defense
The defense, it's basically the defense bill.
the
I mean,
defense bill for a creation of a all volunteer army, basically, kind of like what the U.S. has, instead of
yeah.
the clones, because with what's happened with Camino, they can't get any more new clones. So
Yeah.
without any more new clones, and with the aging process being accelerated in clones, there's a
Mhm.
finite time, even more accelerated, that the clones will not be able to serve. So, but they're acting that, with the insurgents and everything happened, the guys that are for it, that we need this because the clones are not going to be around, and we need to do this. The other ones are acting, we just fought the separatists. We're not at war. We don't need to create this force. What the hell are you talking about? So they go back and
Mhm.
forth, and it was really, really cool to see the Senate the way they, the senators, and then the
Yeah.
guy with the blue horns is in the middle playing the thing, and then Rampart's there. And what was the name of the senator? She's a big part of this. The blue one, the smaller blue lady. She's the one that's
The kind of the main character,
yeah,
Chuchi.
Chuchi. Yeah, so
Chuchi.
Chuchi is the one that's saying, and she comes out of nowhere and she says, "Hey, what about the clones? They're people. They're not. You're talking about them like you're
Yeah.
just going to discard them. They're people. They have rights. We owe them. We asked them. They protected us. They fought the war for us, and we need to do something for them." And and then Rampart, playing the slick piece of shit that he is, says, "Yeah, I'll make some concessions. We'll get together, Senator," and blah blah blah. Then you see him and the blue guy, after all that happens, get together and talking about, you know, the plan going in place, and that the blue guy's saying the Emperor's not going to put up with this shit much longer. You need to get your
Yeah.
stuff in order and get. You said you would get this passed, um, and so you see the scheming going on. And Rampart's ass is on the line
Hmm.
now. And then I think it goes to her, Chuchi, going to the actual clones and talking to them, and the clones. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
really good scene.
Yeah, kind of. She goes to the bar and is trying to like. I'm assuming it's the bar calling it, but she's kind of like, "Hey, I'm here for you. I want to almost like I want to represent you. I'm going to be your union rep in a sense. But what do you guys want?"
And they want to fight.
And yeah, and
That's
half
all
of
they
them like, "No,
know.
we want to fight. We're bred to fight."
Yeah.
Finally, she's like, "Listen, she has the
The
hard
war won't go on
conversation.
forever. Yeah, she's like,
Yeah, you're old. You're getting old. You're
yeah.
accelerated.
What are you
You're
gonna
not
do?
gonna.
Yeah, what are you gonna do then? And then
Yeah.
so they kind of
Oh
see
yeah.
her point, and and they can tell she really does care, and she does.
Yeah.
Chuchi is, she can see her passion. She's one of those believers, believes in, fighting for representing people and fighting for their rights, and that these clones deserve better than the way
Hmm.
they're being treated, and that they should be taken care of because they fought for freedom. And it
Yeah.
really rung home for me, being a veteran, like how we treat our vets and stuff, and I really, really love that scene.
Hmm.
Because a lot of vets, all they know, especially combat armed vets and the people that have served in forward operations, you only know one thing. And the biggest problem with vets is, yeah, there's PTSD and there's a lot of things, but the things that exacerbates that stuff is they get back and they don't have any transferable skills to a lot of the places in the US that are looking for certain types. So there's a lot of stuff that's
Yeah.
transferable from the military if you're in that occupation, but a lot of the people that do the fighting, they don't, right? And so, they get left out to dry, to say. And I really related to this. This is a really good episode about
Hmm.
kind of subtly bringing that point. Well, not subtly, they just say it,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
No,
can
they.
make that distinction as a veteran with that. I thought it was a great scene.
Yeah.
um, where do we go from there? So she has a meeting with Slips comes to her, right, and says, "You're being played, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Don't trust Rampart." Then she goes and sees him and asks some questions and starts filling him out, and then he's like, "Okay, she's going to be a problem." They have their kind of their confrontation, and then from there, I think Slips reaches out to somebody. We kind of knew who she was
Yeah.
reaching out to. We'll get to that in a second, to get him off planet. The Tucci and Bel Organa have a meeting. And that was a good meeting, laying out the groundwork about who to trust, who not to trust, what are the implications, the danger of this, that there's more at work, nefarious things, the Emperor,
Hmm.
his scheming. Bel Organa's on top of it. He's got a
Yeah.
pulse of everything. Um,
Yeah. They.
I'm trying to think, was there
I
anything
mean,
important in that conversation? I mean, there was a lot of
he does.
important.
He does tell her to, basically follow the money. Go to the and get the old Camino senator on board with you.
Yeah.
Uh, Kind of also in the background, Rampart, after his meeting with Chuchi, has his Zoom call with his sniper, and is like, you need to get this done. Follow her because you know she's also looking
Yeah,
for
he
this
initially was to go
organization with
after
mission.
Slips, right? And then
Yeah,
he says, and you want me to kill the center, so that's a little bit different. And he's like, do what you got to do.
do what you got to do. He gave the old, you got it.
And then that leads to the rendezvous where everybody's looking for Slips now.
Yep.
the senator finds him with her two bodyguards after she meets up with Bill Organa, and everything, and then they have this talk. She's trying to convince him to basically turn evidence, give testimony about
Yeah.
Rampart against Rampart, and he's like no. And just as I think she's starting to win him over, about learning what happens on Camino, that that he's looking at doing it, but he's not really there, and he's just wanting to get the hell out of there. He's waiting for his
Yeah.
contact. He gets shot. One of the guards gets shot. The other guard protects her. They get to what would you call it? A warehouse, something
Yeah.
factory. The other guy tracks down, but who comes to the rescue? Old Captain Rex.
Good old
That was
captain.
the guy. That was the captain, or the guy that was the contact for the guy. And I think that's where we end
Yeah,
episode. We had this
that's where we
episode.
end this episode.
Yeah.
Um,
A lot of
yeah,
intrigue and a lot of politics, a lot of setting up for episode 2.
yeah,
I really like this. I really love this whole 2 arc episode, but there was a lot of great stuff in here. I mean,
yeah.
thoughts on episode 7.
The only one thing that kind of leading up to the next episode is Slip does tell Chuchi like, "Hey, basically I'm not going to testify. I'm trying to get out of here."
Oh, yes, but if you want the hard
But
evidence, I did
hard
something.
evidence, I put it in the
Backup hard drive.
backed it up, backup hard
Yeah, on the
drive.
servers or whatever he said he
Yeah,
put it on, right?
yeah,
He created a backup to all the stuff that they would need.
yeah,
And right before he gets shot, you're right, that does happen.
hmm
And it's just
yeah,
laying the groundwork for episode 2,
yep,
and which is episode 8, the second part of the story. When there's the Bad Batch, they're just doing Bad Batch things, Omega's meditating, and Echo's talking to her, and Wrecker's sleeping, and Tech is doing Tech things, and then they get a call from Rex. It says, "Hey
my boy
fellas,
Rex.
hey fellas, what you doing? I got a mission for you." They're like, "Sure," and he's
Hey,
like, "I
yeah,
need you to come to Coruscant." They're like, "Huh?"
hey. But I mean, Echo doesn't even. He's like, "Yep, we're there." He doesn't even give Hunter a chance. Like Hunter usually does that. Should we
Yeah,
go?
Echo
Is it?
wasn't.
Echo's just like, "Yeah, we'll be there."
Hmm. I mean, Wrecker was down for it immediately too, because Wrecker just is like, "About time,"
Yeah, yeah. He's bored. They were like, they just show him being bored, like doing nothing.
I really liked how they used Omega through this too in this second part, because we are
Yeah.
seeing everything through Omega. She's never seen Coruscant, and it was a great scene when they get there. She's just looking around like, "What in the hell is this?" Because she's never seen anything like
No.
Coruscant before. She may have read about it, she may know
Hmm.
about it, but to see it, and then you got to admit, Coruscant, entire planet that's a city, is pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
Um, and she's a big part of this. I mean, her reactions to things and some of the things she says in this episode really hit home. I think they did a good job of using
Hmm.
Omega finally as instead of the funky little, naive
Yeah.
kid. She really showed some maturity in this second part. So they land there, they get with Rex and Chuchi, and then lay it all out.
Hmm.
That they've got a day to get this done. They need to get to them onto the ship to retrieve this information. While she's doing that, Omega's going to go with her, and be her kind of backup. I don't know. It's to just to watch her over her. I guess.
Yeah, she's kind of like their guardian.
Yeah.
One thing, and this may have been the end of the last episode, beginning of this episode. I guess that when they capture the sniper, Rex goes to interrogate him,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and that's a
and
big thing. Yep, let's cover
yeah,
that.
they do find it's a clone. That it is a clone, but he doesn't have clone markings. So like they couldn't like he couldn't figure out who
Identify
they
him.
were.
Yeah,
And when this guy starts getting interrogated, he just
kills himself.
kills himself.
Yeah.
Suicide, tablet or whatever.
He had a device in his mouth. It's like one of
Yeah,
those capsules in your teeth. You bite down, it kills you, basically.
yeah,
Their version of cyanide capsule in the old toothy. Yeah, that was a big thing. I forgot about that. Good
yeah,
point. Didn't get a lot of information other than
yeah,
he's a believer, and a believer of what?
yeah.
And he doesn't say anything else. He just kills himself. So that was pretty potent. So the boys arrive. They break down all that stuff. They got a day because the bill's there and the bill's going to pass. Rampart's done what he needs to do, whatever he needed to do to
Hmm.
basically get the support that he needs. Um, and then it leads to two parts. There's what the boys are doing with Rex, and that was actually really cool to see them infiltrate and everything. Just doing what they do, I mean,
Yeah.
that's what they're experts at. And then seeing the senator going around, they talked to the old Camino lady, and that was a great scene because the Camino lady's like, "Why should I care? My
Yeah.
people were wiped out, blah blah blah." And then Omega's like, "I'm a clone. That was my home. The Empire destroyed it, and that makes me angry." And she's like looking at her like, "Why aren't you angry?" It was such a great little speech from Omega. I
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, there you go, girl. You go get her ass. That's right. You
Yeah.
tell her to shut her pile." you know. So they convince her she will testify, but the community says, "But I need hard proof. You're not going to believe me, per se."
Disgraced senator. Yeah.
Yeah, this great senator. Um, Boys go around and the boys accomplish their mission. A whole bunch of stuff happens. I really like how they go about it's a thriller where they're in there, fighting their way through. They get the information, and then the pod thing was pretty cool. I gotta admit, the pod thing was pretty cool. Um, they get the information, they get it to Megan, and she gets it to them. What's more important than what the boys were doing is that Chuchi, with her side, confronts Rampart. This is what's really brilliant.
Yeah.
Says, you destroyed Camino, you took funds, you knew about it ahead of time, blah blah. And it's a typical political thing where they're both going back
Hmm.
and forth, on those floating discs and like this. And I've got the testimony of this Camino, and they're waiting for that proof. The proof comes, and it's all the footage, and it shows the attack happening on Camino, which everybody believed was a giant storm,
Yeah.
right?
He told everybody I happened to be there. Giant storm took out, well, like
Yeah,
once in a life.
it's
Like,
unfortunate that he told her to just, well, why aren't you there? Like, well, I was just doing a training thing, but I would have been wiped out too, or I could have saved more
yeah, I
people.
could have saved them.
Rampart's such a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Um, but you have this whole confrontation. They get the evidence, they show the evidence, and so his ass is grass, right? We don't know how much his ass is grass because he is definitely scapegoat material. Because who comes out?
Good.
Palpatine, and that was
Papa
brilliant.
Pals.
Papa Palps himself comes out through the bottom all the way up, and the guy's like, "Order!" And this is what you gotta love about Palpatine. And now we learn why the stormtroopers come about with the stormtrooper program. He said it. He knew that this was what was going to happen. That if
Yeah.
he put everything in motion so that either one, if he got it passed with no problems, great. But
Yep.
if not, if they did for some reason, he's always a master pulling them
Yeah.
strings, thinking ahead. He used this against the senators trying to stop this by saying, this proves something I've been thinking about. The clones followed orders and blah blah blah. Maybe it's time we need to think about, for security and all this, that we need to pass
Hmm.
this. They played right into his
Yep.
hands. They played right into his hands. And the senator even says it after, because they all have a little meeting and stuff. Like, and I think it was Rex, like, Palpatine was 3 steps ahead of us, or step ahead of us in the Clone Wars and stuff, and he's
Still ahead of us.
did it again, man. He
Yeah.
did it again. And we learn now the clones get transitioned out for the Stormtrooper program, which is the volunteer program, with the Imperial. Because we always wonder, well, what happened to the clones? They've
Yeah.
now done the lore of what happens to the clones. The act gets passed, the clones will be taken away, and this new program will come in. And then the other thing is that Echo decides to stay with Rex and to help him. There's a touching scene between him and Omega, because that's her family, and she doesn't want to
Yeah.
see him go, but he knows that we've seen it with Echo in his story, that he's wanting to do more. Which I
Yeah. He's
eventually
all.
think that this is where they're after the tribe episode where they help the Jedi, and now with the clones and everything, I think it's starting to come full circle where the clones are going to start getting involved with the underground, because especially now
Hmm.
with the clones going on, which are really interesting to see. I think those are the main points. I mean, did I miss anything? Big K's got his notes over there. He's like, when I
Yeah.
missed the clone was the sniper. Yeah,
Okay.
I love
Nah.
this. I absolutely love these two
Yeah.
episodes. These are easily 4s or higher for me for these episodes. I mean, the political intrigue, the the intrigue itself, there were so many moving parts happening at once. The final answer, what happens with the clones and stuff, and I thought Omega had some really good scenes where she's, being mature. She's not
Yeah,
the side character always in these that does stupid things. She was really that speech was great. Um, there's a lot to love about. I really like these. I really love these episodes. I don't know how you feel, Kay. Looking back again on them, and like, how do you feel about these two episodes?
yeah, I totally agree with everything. It was great because Omega's usually the oh, I hear something over there, let me go check it out. Boop, boop, and stumbles onto something and gets them into some trouble. This wasn't. This was her being mature, being inquisitive, asking like legitimate questions.
What's a
Really,
senator?
yeah. What do you
What do you
senators?
do? What does
Yeah,
that mean?
who represents the clones? Oh,
Mm.
nobody represents the clones. We're people too. So yeah, no, I think she they showed her being really mature, even at the end when she's like, being upset about losing Echo. She's handling it, like an adult,
Yeah, she's sad to
losing
see
a
him go, but she understands. She doesn't
yeah,
want him to go, but she gets it. And
yeah, she's understanding what his motivation is and why he
yeah,
does, you know, what he does.
and it was really good to see Rex back with the boys again. We haven't seen that since season 7, if I'm not mistaken, of the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
where they went and rescued Echo. When
Yeah,
he
where they
Rex
rescued
went
that
with
was
him for
it.
the first time. Um, there's so much to like about this. I mean, and I really like the new Chuchi. She was really, she was a fantastic new character introduced.
Hmm.
To see Bell Organa in there and the
Yeah,
way he's
always good.
operating. Um,
And then how could you not just love Palpatine?
oh my God.
And I'm pretty
Just
sure I
out of
didn't.
nowhere, he came up. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Because he's responding, because Rampart gets, they find him out. I mean, you can see it's on the big screen, what he did. And Palpatine didn't even hesitate. Threw his ass under the bus and was waiting for that. He's like, either this bill's gonna pass and I don't have to do anything, or Rampart's gonna screw up and I'll use that.
Yep.
Rampart's traitor, the clones followed his orders, he'll be dealt with. The clones can't be trusted. We need this. We need this force. And just flipped it like a master
Yeah.
man. The way he is, dude, is so good.
He is like the expression like he's playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers, and that's exactly what it was. And I'm gonna kind of give you a shameless plug. We do the Star Wars lore with
Yeah, we
idiots,
do.
and when we talked about Vitiate. That video is going to be coming out soon, and like as this whole episode's going and as Palpatine's going, I'm like, damn, this is pretty much like I could picture this is what Vitiate was kind of like doing that, like doing
Plans
shit
within
behind the
plans,
scenes.
man. It's just plans
Yeah,
within plans. If this
yeah.
doesn't work, I got this as a backup, and if that does
I
fail, I
got
got
I got
this
A
other.
B C D
I-
and
I've got things set up in case this happens or this doesn't work. I got this ready to go, and if it does go this way, I can do this. Yeah, this is the way
mm-hmm.
makes those two so similar in their way their minds work toward their overall objective.
Yeah.
And the best laid plans can still go awry. I mean, but you just see how just hyperbolic intelligent Palpatine is with the way he thinks, how
Mm-hmm.
he does stuff. It was unbelievable. I that scene with
Yeah.
Palpatine coming in was just incredible, man. I love that so much, man. Because we'd seen him in the like just a snippet of him in
Yeah.
the trailers, and I'm like, okay, and we hadn't seen him at all, and then all of a sudden he rises, and it's like, oh, what's
Mm-hmm.
Palpatine gonna say? Um, Played it beautifully, and I even liked Omega what she said at the end of the video. Or the show. She was like, "I don't understand. We did what's right. We told the truth." And then Hunter leads in. He goes, "Yeah, but Palpatine twisted the truth to his benefit, and that's what he does."
Yep.
And that was kind of a cool little statement that say, "Yeah, that's what Palpatine does,
Yep.
motherfucker." that dude is that dude is something else. Overall, yeah, I thought this was just a because
Yeah.
we're only halfway through the Bad Batch
Mm-hmm.
season. I'm gonna give both of these 4.2 out of 5. I really out of 5 Bad Batch, definitely 4.25 for both of them. They were so good. I was locked in. The story was intriguing. Um, it just got me in, and to see that lore of how the clones were phased out, and everything, and how it went down. Brilliant. We've all wondered that, and they answered it beautifully, and how
Mm-hmm.
Palpatine manipulated things to get what he wanted. Now we know, and I got to
Yeah.
give it high marks for doing that.
Yeah, I'd give it 4 bad batches. Would like to see a little bit more, a little more bad batch. That's the one. The first episode was half the episode wasn't even bad batch in there. So
I didn't mind that because the
yeah.
way the story was progressing, to see the politics and everything that's transpiring in the Senate and these other key characters that we know are key characters later
Mm-hmm.
on, um, the introduction of Chi-Chi, I didn't mind it at all. I didn't mind it at all because it did a beautiful groundwork of what was coming up with the clones, what's going to happen to the clones, what was happening in the Senate, everything that was leading up to the second part, which is Bad Batch doing what Bad Batch does. Is we need this information. We'll Bad
Mm-hmm.
Batch and go get it for you. And that was a really great scene. I mean, them infiltrating the ship and everything they did and how
Yeah.
they got out of there. The escape pod scene was fantastic. I love Tex like, I was 6.4 meters off on the
Yeah.
landing. I'm slipping.
Rex is like, we can't fly these things. They're Tech's like, all we need to do is eject.
We just
I
needed
got
jacked. I got it. I got
I
this. And it
got
was so good because Hunter's like, not bad. And Tech's like, nah, I was 6.4 meters off.
yeah.
I'm all, I didn't, it wasn't very good.
Fox. Fox. I can't believe I missed this.
Yeah, so good. Uh, Anything else? Such a good 2 episodes, man.
Yeah.
This is the stuff I've been waiting for. A
Yeah.
lot of the other stuff has been character moments and, just people call it filler. It is filler, but I think what we've gotten so far is we've had these character moments for these characters and moments with the Bad Batch that's progressing them, like Echo now leaving the Bad
Yeah.
Batch temporarily to go help Rex with what's going to go on with the clones. I'm really fascinated where this is going to go. What happens to the Bad Batch? That's what we want to understand,
Yeah.
because
At the end of the day, we know they're. I mean, we always say we know they can't survive, but
we
somehow
know Rex
that's it.
does, and we know that there's
Yeah.
going to be creating an underground. If you've not seen the what was the mini little thing they did with Dooku and
Can you
Ahsoka, with Jedi Tales, Tales of the Jedi or
Tales of the
something.
Jedi?
Yeah, because they show Ahsoka when she decides, because she's in hiding, right, and she
Yeah.
becomes the Fulcrum. So
Yeah.
uh, I'm just curious if they're going to use her in this, because I don't know when in that timeline. They don't really say. We know right after episode 3, for some short period of time, she's out hiding, and then she calls Belgana. It's like, "Are you ready?" And she's like, "Yeah, I am ready to get
Yeah.
back into it." So it'll be curious to see if she gets involved eventually, and what happens to the Bad Batch. That's the thing that I'm most
Yeah.
curious about. Where do they get involved? How do they get involved? Are they the precursor to the rebellion? Are these guys, what do they eventually become? Because right now they'll do stuff. They don't hate the Empire.
Yeah.
They'll fight them. They're against it. But I think now that the clones' fate has been sealed, I think this is when it's going to get good, because now we're going to see what happens to all the clones, right?
Hmm.
We know they're going to get transitioned out, but what do the actual happen to the people? There's tons of clones still out there. Um,
Yeah.
and
They
what
said there's millions of them.
Yeah, and so it'll be interesting. The senator said she's going to keep fighting for the rights and stuff, and that'll be really good. Um, Man, so much good stuff that's coming down the pipe with Bad Batch.
Yeah.
Mixed reviews on Bad Batch from a lot of people not liking it so far. I like it. I don't think I'm like over the moon for it. I mean, it's had some good stuff in there. This episode really had great stuff, man. I give this very high marks
Yeah.
for these 2 episodes. But I think for this season to be successful, they need to get away from all the characters. We've seen enough of the character stuff. They need it for the next 8 episodes. Maybe a filler here or there for some kind of arc for character
Hmm.
development if they need to, fine. But we need to let's get full Bad Batch, what they're gonna do. Let's see if these next episodes build up toward them doing whatever it is that Bad Batch is going to decide eventually to do. Are they going to continue to be mercenaries? Great. Don't care anymore, because it's like, okay, they're fun characters to follow and stuff, but I want to see if they get involved with something and what it is that they get involved with. I don't know how you feel, but that's where I'm kind of at with
Yeah.
this series right
They
now.
they got to do it. This season so far has been a little disappointing. These last 2 episodes have definitely bumped it up on my, really getting more hyped again about them. and I just hope it just just continues. It's got to keep on.
Yeah, I would say out of the first 8 episodes, 1 and 2, okay, it
Yeah,
was okay. Episode 3 was phenomenal. That was the Cody and Crosshair episode.
Crosshair.
Love that episode. That thing was amazing.
Hmm.
6 was okay. I like the tribe a lot. The other ones are
Yeah,
okay. Morning Saturday
yeah,
serial cartoon kind of
yeah.
thing. Um, but these last two, yeah, 7, 8, and 3 of me have, and some of 6.
Hmm.
6 was pretty solid, but 7, 8, and 3 are high marks for me
Yeah.
because those three really are laying some good groundwork for what could happen in
Hmm.
the future. Because I think Crosshair is starting to maybe start seeing some shit he doesn't like. We know Cody did. He's out. He went
Yeah.
AWOL. What's going to happen with Cody? That's what I'm interested too. Is
Mhm.
he going to get tied in back with the bad bat? This is
What
really
I'm
some good
hoping,
stuff.
yeah, what I'm hoping next week's episode is called The Crossing. So hopefully it involves like, you know, crosshair,
Could be.
crosshair. Hopefully it's a crosshair episode. And seeing what he's gonna start thinking about, Rampart now gone, the clones are, he's already a lone man as far as the clones, because none of the other regs like him.
Yeah.
So see, maybe he starts, maybe the Bad Batch will put out a wanted ad like, hey, we lost one of our guys, Echo,
Have you seen our friend?
yeah.
Yeah, what is
we,
going to happen to Crosshair? Because that's a big question now that the
yeah.
clones are going to be moved away. Does the Empire see him as the asset that he is and still use and utilize him? Or is he going to start saying, maybe I picked
Hmm.
the wrong side and start flipping his thinking back to the boys, right? Be
And
interesting to
I
see.
hope to have somebody kind of take over that Rampart position. Hopefully it's somebody that we know, hopefully like a Krennic or
Well, I
something like
think
that.
Tarkin is going to be more involved now because they mentioned him in this
Yeah.
that first episode that Tarkin is getting impatient too. Um, so yeah, we'll see who's the baddie's going to be moving forward, but I think it's going to be Tarkin because you know how sleazy Tarkin is, but Tarkin is no fool and he is hyper intelligent too. I mean,
Yeah.
he's no one you want to mess with too. He knows how to play the game better than anybody. He was, one of the Emperor's top guys.
Hmm.
Tarkin, Thrawn, Vader, those guys had the Emperor's ear. I
Yeah.
mean, so it'll be interesting to see. So let us know in the comments what you guys think of Bad Batch, episode 7 and 8. I loved them. I really did. That whole scene with the clones, what the senator was saying about them being veterans and what they owed and all this stuff really hit home for me. Thought the action was great. The intrigue was great. The political intrigue was great. The manipulation at the end by Palpatine, like you son of a, I should have known because I knew it was good. We all knew it was going to happen, but how it happened is like what's
Yeah.
the most like we know Rex lives, but to see Rex do things, you're like, oh okay, we know there's no danger for Rex, but like it's
Hmm.
like Palpatine. We know how Palpatine's story ended, but we always had these lingering questions like how did the Republic transition from the clones to stormtroopers? Now we know how it's going to come
Yeah.
about. So that was really awesome. I really loved it. And so let us know in the comments what you think. We'll put these up the same day that we record them. So if you like the content, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, leave your comments. They're much appreciated, and share it with other folks and give your thoughts. Everything is appreciated. We really appreciate any insight you guys have. Whether you love it or hate it, if you don't like it, that's
Yeah.
fine too. Just be cool about it. If you don't like the show, hey, I get it. It's entertainment. It's subjective. You know, you like what you like. You don't like what. So, but with that, I got to get ready for a big stream. So on behalf of myself and Big K, and you can check out our other content on the channel. We got the Old Republic with the boys going on right now. We've got the lore series going on. I got to work on that tomorrow. That's what I got to do all day to get that. So, but yeah, on behalf of myself and Big K, everyone have a great rest of your day. May the force be with you. We'll see you next week for the next review.